Right. So the one who has tried that can show that. Then based on that, we may carry out our discussion. The first question is about the Hill Country PLC purchased an item of plant which cost rupees 20 million. So that had been purchased on 1st of April 2020. At the date of purchase, the residual value when the useful life of the plant was estimated as rupees 500,000. 500,000 and 10 years respectively. So all the information are given. The expectation is to compute the depreciation under the 4 methods what you had learned during the video recording. Right. So without taking much time, I would like someone to initiate. So then we may discuss the relevant aspects. So it is an area where we need not to extensively discuss about the theoretical aspects, because you are quite thorough in that since from your A levels, you've been discussing about this property, plant and equipment. So the depreciation is, I believe, that the most discussed topic even during your first year under the financial accounting course you have taken on that. But here what we are seeing, how to perform the depreciation using the spreadsheet package. So that is our focus. Yes, I would like someone to initiate. So we have a couple of more questions to discuss today. Yes.
It's a very basic question, right, Roshan?
Yes, yes, sir. So it's just a computation of depreciation under the methods what we had learned.
All the inbuilt functions are available there in the system, so we have to use the inbuilt function and calculate the depreciation.
So probably you would have done that. So without hesitation, yes. So why we should wait time on this? So let's quickly go and have a look at that. So here we are to further clarify the things that you haven't got in the video recording. So therefore, I believe that so this is something that should come definitely from your side. So you may come up with the answers, then we may discuss accordingly. Yes. So none of you has tried that, or you are not going to show that.
What are you going to do, sir? If they are not sharing, you don't have to show the answers, right?
Yeah, then we can move on to second question, right?
Basically about the lookup function.
Yeah, then we can start with it. Yeah. So someone
the one who completed that activity can share it, then we can discuss.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So this may be the fourth question. Good. Yeah. You are taking us through the first question. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Ramindu. Okay. So let's go to the first depreciation method. It is about the straight line depreciation method. So, you know, under the straight line depreciation method, the depreciation what you may take per annum, so is equal. And I have extensively discussed that when it comes to this straight line depreciation method. And when come to the depreciation should reflect the pattern in which you consume the economic benefits of an asset. So as far as the straight line depreciation is concerned, there we assume that the equal level of consumption of economic benefit. Say it's a machinery, so like we have here, and we would be expecting the same amount of output in each year. So throughout the useful life. So here we have 10 years useful life. So throughout the useful life, we may expect an equal benefit. So it must be reflected in the depreciation method what you may use. So accordingly, you have selected the straight line depreciation method. So in that, you have calculated that very correctly. So can you expand that, the formula? Let's take that to the expanded form. In the straight line basis, so straight line method, so the syntax is SLN, function goes like SLN. Then you have to easily feed the three information: the cost, the salvage, and the life. So you have done it very correctly. All the references have been given, and accordingly, you managed to work out the depreciation. It's 1.95 million. 1.95 million. Good. And thereafter, you have taken that to a kind of chart as well. So because the question requests you to show them in a bar chart. So you have taken that. And so Ramindu, can you show that how you had managed to do that? While keeping that, let's do a new one. So how was the starting point? First, you have selected the depreciation and the accumulated depreciation. Then you have moved on to the insert tab. Then you have taken, yes. So this is how you have taken that, and you have expanded that, right? Then by looking at this graph, you can see each year from the first year to the 10th year, the depreciation is equal. So it is reflected so graphically, and when come to the accumulated depreciation, you can see that continuously it is increasing. So it increases by the same amount. Then at the end of the period, so it had become equal to the it has come to a point where at the end of the period, the carrying amount becomes equal to the residual value. Yes, very correct. You have done it nicely. So this is where you can bring your creativity. So you can try different things out. So this is a very basic form, the graphical presentation what we may take. And here you can do different kinds of value addition to give more strong graphical representation. Good. Right. So let's move on to the second depreciation method. There are
Roshan, if you
yes.
can add the heading for the particular diagrams are very much important, no? So at the moment we don't have heading, so if you can add the heading at the top, that will be useful to any user. When the user look at what sort of depreciation comparison is shown in this particular graph is not mentioned. Only thing that depreciation amount and accumulated depreciation columns are there, but if you can add the heading at the top, so that will be useful again.
Yeah, by using the formatting options, you can do that. Yes. So it's a good value addition. So you can add the headings, then it will give you. So using the formatting by right clicking on the what you call the graph that you have taken.
Inside you can right click.
Yeah, then see that you'll be having an option with that. Properties.
You can even add the box, text box there, and or the draw box.
Yes. Once you get the
chart title one.
Yeah. So you can choose a.
Then enter the chart title.
Yes. Let's use SLN that will do the job.
Oh, that's enough. SLN.
SLN method. Straight line method. Good. Right. So I believe that this is the most easiest depreciation method. So what you may have encountered. So in a suitable instance, you may have to use it. So it is not just the simplicity. So it must be the situation where it is suitable, you may have to use it, right? Good. Right. Then let's move on to the second depreciation method. So it is about the reducing balance depreciation. So we start with the fixed declining balance method. Fixed declining balance method we may start with, right? So in that, so again, you have developed the depreciation schedule, the cost, depreciation, accumulated depreciation, and the carrying amount is there. Then you are going to feed the information, the required ones. So you start with the cost, as usual in the previous case, the salvage or the residual value is there, and the life is there. All these three information was there even under the straight line method. But here, the addition is, it's going to be the period. So there, you have to be conscious that when you are giving that period, so under this declining balance method, you know, what you would experience is the depreciation would vary from period to period. The depreciation what you may get from period 1 is different to the depreciation that you may get in the second year. So because of that, the selection of this period is pretty much important. So in that, usually what we do, we may give it as a reference. When we are developing the depreciation schedule, we'll be making a reference there. So here you have very correctly make that reference, that is A36. And then once you drag that, so it change accordingly. Yes. Then thereafter you can see another important piece of information is there. It is month.
Just click that, Buddha. Click that month.
Yes. See what is the information that is given? It says that the month is the number of months in the first year. If month is omitted, it is assumed to be 12 months. 12. So here we have simply ignored that. What was the reason for that? The question had mentioned you have acquired this asset on the very first day of the reporting period. That was on 1st of April 2020. So we assume that our reporting period begins on 1st of April. So in most of the cases, that is how it works. So therefore, we have simply ignored that, and consequently, we have done the depreciation for 10 years. But when it comes to the practical scenario, that may not be the case always. There can be instances where we may acquire asset in the middle of the year. Say, you may acquire your asset in 3 months after the reporting period beginning date. Say, you are going to acquire this particular asset on 1st of July 2020. 1st of July 2020. If that happens, you can see that in the first year, you don't have to depreciate the entire period because your reporting period ends on 31st March. Accordingly, you may have to depreciate for the first year only 9 months. So if you come across such kind of situation, you may have to make use of this month. Ravinder, shall we make it and see?
We can type some number and see, no?
Yeah.
So it need to be 9 months now. You have to type there 9.
Yes.
Then the depreciation will change.
You can see that. So the depreciation has turned around to be 4.62 million. So earlier it was higher than that, but now it is less. Then another significant change that would happen with that, your period is going to be 11.
So you can adjust them. You can adjust it.
Yes, you can. You have to add another period at the bottom. You have to add another period. Then you can simply drag the things. That's all what you need to do. And accumulate a depreciation accordingly. Yeah, good. Yes. Then the carrying amount accordingly. Good. And so here cost information has to be there. You have to drag the cost as well. Right. You can see that here we have done the depreciation for the 11th year because you know in the 11th year only 3 months depreciation has to be done, right? But here when we are at the beginning of the formula, we have entered number 9. So that is to specify that in the very first year 9 months needs to be depreciated. Once you input that particular information, this particular system or your function reads that, and they would do the appropriate depreciation for the final year. Then you don't have to worry that you need to come to the final year and make some adjustment for the your month is only 3 months.
He's having a small mistake. If he can highlight the second year depreciation, the formula need to change a little bit. Because the 9 is a fixed number now. We have to remove that 9 before we drag it down.
Normally we carry this simple thing.
Every year you are having only 9 months, no?
No, that's
It's
not
going to be
how.
the second year. Yeah.
Normally,
So the financial period, if you consider the financial period, now the first year will end up a particular given period, right? So then you are going for the whole year.
Yes, sir, yes. But when come to this formula, how it normally reads is, it is only applicable for the first and last year.
Yes.
The rest of the years periods, they may simply consider 12 months.
12 months, yes.
You may just have to keep it 9, but they automatically consider that. That's how you.
Are you sure?
Yes.
If you erase that, let's see what if we
Yeah.
erase the number I, then it will change, no? The value is the same.
Value change. Yes. If we drag that, then sometimes the
And the final year we have to adjust for 3 months, no?
3 months. Just let's try that, sir. Sure. And see whether we are not getting into a desirable number. Is the carrying amount is significantly different. It comes as 1.8 million or something. It's supposed to be 500,000 residual value.
Something is wrong there. No?
Yeah. So therefore, normally that we keep the 9 months and the system automatically reads that. That's how we used to do. Then the small difference you would witness under this decline imbalance method. So the fixed decline imbalance method. So it is quite obvious, and I have taught you how to make that particular thing adjusted. So you can simply see the change. So it's supposed to be 500,000, the residual value, but it has 516,550. So we may have to adjust that 16,550 to the final year depreciation. So Ramindu, shall we make that manual?
Highlight the last year.
Yeah, last year
depreciation value.
Yeah.
And then you have to make the adjustment there.
Yeah.
Add that value at the top. The formula bar, you have to add the additional amount.
Yeah, we may add
go
that.
to the formula bar.
Formula
Where
bar.
the formula is showing. Here in the formula.
At the top, yes.
You can add plus market at the 16,550.62.
Yeah, 16,550.62.
Then right.
Yeah, so it get into the depreciation. The carrying amount has become equal to the residual value. Yes, you have done that perfectly. And most importantly, you have taken the graphical representation. In that, you can see very nicely when come to this depreciation.
Expand the area again. Expand the area. One more year need to be added, so you can expand your highlighted area. One more. All right. Yes.
So here it comes the picture that you can see at the initial period, the depreciation is tend to be high, but here it's a special case because we have only considered 9 months. But if we had considered the 12-month situation, definitely the first year depreciation is the greatest. First year depreciation is the greatest. Then subsequently, it gradually decreases. So as the term suggests, it's fixed declining balance method. It's declining balance method, right? And also you have to think about, so what would be the instances that you can make use of this depreciation method. So it has to be the instances where the consumption of economic benefit is reducing gradually. That would be the suitable instance. So for an example, when it comes to this plant, at the initial period, you may be expecting to do a higher output, say 20,000 units or something. But in the second year, you may be expecting something less, say 15,000. So likewise, when the asset ages, gradually your usage of the asset decreases. And I believe that in most of the asset, that would be the reality. You can't expect the same amount of benefit throughout the period in most of the assets. So what is the reality is that when the asset ages, the service potential is reducing. So therefore, the economic benefit what it would offer tend to reduce. So if you come across such an instance, you may have to make use of the what do you call that, fixed declining balance method. Fixed declining balance method. Right, you have done that. So here one of the significant features what you have seen is that, so you can time apportion. The time apportioning is there. Then you may wonder that why it was not there in the straight line method. So it's a very obvious thing. When it comes to the straight line method, doing the time apportion is not a big deal. Say that in the first year, you want to have it for 6 months. So it's just a matter of dividing the full year depreciation by 2. So it was not a huge task. So that would have been the reason why the time apportioning was not included in the straight line method. But here, when it comes to fixed declining balance method, so doing that in a manual way is not going to be necessarily easy. So therefore, they would have thought of enabling that feature to this declining balance method. So that could be the rationale, right? So, and again, this is something what you can try practically as well. So I have taken you through how this particular rate is determined, That was, I have clearly taken you through that. And by using that particular formula, what we had discussed during the video, you can even work out this manually and verify yourself whether you have done it correctly. Right? So just to show you, let me just have this for a while. Right. Thank you very much, Ramindu. You have done a good piece of work, right? I appreciate. So just to show you.
Someone else, no? Another 2 methods are there.
Yes, I'm just trying to show that the manual one. So let me go to the financial functions and depreciation method. Let me share my screen now. Here I have this manual calculation. So this is what I had made use of in the lecture. So in the fixed declining balance method, you know how to compute the rate. So this is the formula to compute the rate. So it is 1 minus the salvage divided by cost to the power 1 divided by the useful life. So once you apply that, you can come up with the rate. So here for the lecture example, I have taken that. And having taken the particular formula, so particular number, the depreciation rate, you need to remember that you need to round that to 3 decimal places. In relation of this exercise, if I am just to do that, here we have the salvage value 10,000, useful life 10. The information is there, and the cost information is 100,000. So if I am to work out this rate, it's 1 minus the salvage, it is 10,000, cost 100,000 to the power 1 divided by the life is 10 years. So let me take equal sign over there. So it comes as 0.205, right? So having get into that particular figure, let me round that to 3 decimal places. It's a must. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So rounding that into 3 decimal places, you can get into the depreciation. So here you have 100,000. So it is 0.206. So if you apply that to the 100,000 in the first year, it comes as 20,600 for sure. So here I have even shown that how it works. So if you get this 100,000, so you have to take the carrying amount, but in the very first year, at the beginning of the first year, the carrying amount is equal to the cost. So the rate is 206, and once you get into that, and it is 100,000 multiplied by 0.6, right? Then the second year onwards, you have to take the carrying amount at the beginning of the second year. So it is 79,400. If you apply the same, you ended up getting into the second year depreciation. So therefore, you know even how to manually do that. But this may not be something that you should use. But once you are familiar with the formula, you can easily do that. So that is just to reduce your burden, right? Okay, good. Thereafter, let me take you through the third depreciation method. So it's about the double declining balance. So having discussed the fixed declining balance, then we come to the third declining balance, third depreciation method. It is the double declining balance method. So here we have worked out using the double declining balance. So your cost is given, the depreciation is given, accumulated depreciation and the carrying amount. So here if I go to this formula, as we used to do, again, some of the family information are there. No? You have the cost, the salvage value, then the life and the period. So all these four information you are quite used to. The only new information is going to be this factor. So when it comes to this factor, it says that if you ignore that, so if you read that, if you ignore that, it is taken as 2. It is taken as 2. Or if you wish to make it like 3, 4, 5, or even 1, yes, you have the opportunity to do so, right? So that is what the double declining balance. Then what it really doubles, as it suggests, what it really doubles? It simply doubles the rate what you had made use of in the straight line method. In the straight line method, you had made use of a particular rate. When it comes to the double declining balance, it would double that particular rate. Since it is a kind of depreciation methods, it's a reducing balance, so they would always take the carrying amount into that particular rate, right? Now let me show you how should we claim that it is to be the double of the straight line method. So in fact, I have taken you through this as well in the lecture, but just to show you, right? So when it comes to this,
you have to correct the table as well.
sir?
Table double decline one. There's a carrying amount difference is there, no?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
one of the limitations in this.
No,
Yes, again, I'm going to discuss about that as well. Let me take it after the rate, sir.
Yeah, okay. No problem.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Right. Here in the straight line method, so how do you calculate the rate? So the useful life is going to be 10, right? So in that, you are depreciating this over a period of 10. So the per annum depreciation is going to be 1 out of this 10. So that is the rate. It's 10%. It's 10%. So when it comes to this double declining method, then therefore it should probably use like, if it is 10%, it has to be 20%. And see whether they have applied that 20%. So here we have the cost at the beginning. It's like 20 million. And the depreciation is going to be like 20%. If so, if you had worked that out, yes, you can see that. So it has simply used the double the rate of the straight line method. So if you want to make it 3 times, in the factor, all what you have to do is make it 3. So just to confirm, so you can work out another year just to confirm whether we have done this correctly. So when it comes to second year, you start with the carrying amount, that is 16 million, that is into 20%. So in that, if you get it, so your depreciation should be 3.2 million. 3.2 million. So therefore, exactly correct the way you have taken. But as Kalun sir has highlighted, you can see something is wrong over here. Having done that correctly, what went wrong? What went wrong? So you would have even experienced that while you're working out that at the end of the 10th year, the carrying amount is not equal to the useful life, sorry, salvage value. So it is supposed to be 500,000, but here we have ended up getting it into 2.147 million.
So, I think there's a mistake of taking these two values. Sir?
No, sir, it was one of
V52 is 20 million.
Okay, sir. So we start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Formula, no? Right, sir.
Yeah, that's correct. No?
Yeah, we have taken that
Okay.
D3, salvage, life, and the period.
And the period, they drag it down, that one?
Yeah, sure. Let me drag them down. The double declining balance. Yes, we have dragged them down. Yes, first year we have taken that, second year after the previous year plus the current year, C44. Then we have dragged them down. Yes, according to the carrying amount, starting from the first year, yes, we can simply drag them down.
16.
Yeah.
Same, right?
Same. The question here is, when it comes to the double declining method, so it is recommended not to go for this depreciation method. So when it comes to the Excel, so it is highly recommended that you are not supposed to go for this double declining method if in a given situation the salvage value is comparatively less. Comparatively less. In that instance, the double declining balance method is not going to work. So that is the most important learning outcome that you are going to have, right? So in the instance where the salvage value is comparatively low, so you should not use the double declining balance. So it is how this literature identifies when it comes to the double declining balance. But rest of the functions, it is clearly work. So the straight line obvious, fixed declining balance works, and even the sum of the year digit method, right? But here you have to remember that you should not use this double declining balance method if the the salvage is comparatively less. In an instance where it is high, it's going to work. But in such kind of situation, it's not going to work. So we just wanted to expose you to that. And thereafter, we have taken that into the kind of graphical presentation as usual. It is there. Believe that you get the fact. So thereafter,
Lakshita, I think you got the answer, no? Because he's asking a question regarding this 500,000. I think he got the answer for that.
Yes. Right now we are moving on to the final method. It's about the sum of the year digit method. So in this particular method, it is another variation in the declining balance method. Declining balance method variation. So as usual, you can even work this out manually as well. So if you wish, first we may see the formula, then we may simply come and just have a look at the manual way as well. So as usual, you can see that the syntax, it starts with SYD function. The cost information is there, salvage is there, life is there, everything as you learn. So here, the period, they have indicated that by PER. So I believe that it was little different from the previous case. They used to refer the full term period. But here in this particular depreciation method, the sum of year digit method, the period is simply known as PER. But still, it is period, right? Period. And here, once you feed the information, so it would simply give you the answer. So it would simply give you the answer having input the information. So here we have get that. And you can see that, as I suggested, it's a reducing balance method. So it's a reducing balance method. When the asset ages, the benefit what you may get decreases, and it is reflected in the depreciation method. And I suggest that even you can work this out manually. And how you are supposed to do that? It is simply, you can take the total of the period. So it is a sum of the years digit method, right? So therefore, period span from year 1 to 10. So if you take the summation, so it's going to be kind of 1 to 10, 55. Then you have to take, so it's a kind of decline imbalance method. So therefore, higher depreciation for the first year, towards the initial period of the useful life, and lower depreciation towards the end. In that, so you have to take the year in the reverse order. So therefore, I might take 10 in the first year, 9 in the second year. Likewise, I would be taking that. Then when it comes to the depreciation, it's going to be 10 out of 55 for the first year, 9 out of 55 for the second year. Likewise, it goes on. And when it comes to this depreciation here, what you need to consider, it is not the cost, not the carrying amount, but what you are going to take is, it's going to be the cost minus the residual value or the depreciable amount. Depreciable amount has to be taken. Then it's going to work, right? So it is another difference what you would experience. Here I have worked out the depreciation rate simply by dividing that, and thereafter you would be taking B3 over here minus B4. Yeah, B3 is the beginning of the formula, B3 minus B4. As I said, the depreciable amount is taken, and thereafter you would have done the depreciation. You would have done the depreciation. So it corresponds to that. So you have to make it fixed. Come to drag this. Yes, it gives you the same depreciation figure. So remember here you are taking the depreciable amount, but under the reducing balance method, what you used to take? You used to take the carrying amount. Under the fixed declining balance method and the double declining balance method, it was carrying amount, but in this method, it is the depreciable amount, cost minus the salvage. Cost minus the salvage is going to get considered, right? And thereafter we have graphically presented as usual, and so it has provide us a similar kind of thing. So in the initial periods, the higher depreciation was there, but towards the latter part, lower depreciation was witnessed. And finally, I have asked you to take all the depreciation to a single picture and do the comparison. So in that, we have taken the 4 depreciation method, straight line, fixed declining and double declining, and the sum of year digit method, and we have done that particular comparison. So here, let me draw that again. So just to show you, so I can select. So here I wouldn't have updated that. Give me 1 second. The first year would have taken the depreciation, the fixed declining balance method depreciation. Just the values to be pasted, and thereafter the double declining balance method as well. Finally, the sum of the year depreciation. Values to be pasted. Right, having done that, now you can compare that. You can select the entire thing, and as usual, you can go to the insert and you can select a suitable one. Right, so here we have the comparison across the years. So you can see, so more strong representation is there, right? Since the number of years are greater, so you cannot see some of. So once you enlarge that, you can see that clearly, right? In the straight line method, equal amount, but under the declining balance, the fixed declining balance, the first year the highest, and it is the lowest in the 10th year. So similarly, we can see how it behaved over the useful life. So that is how we must present everything in a single place. So it will facilitate the comparison. So this was the second requirement what I have requested from you. Right, now most of the questions are there. Yeah. Fine. So if you have any questions with this respect, now you can raise that. So since we are running out of time, so in the meantime, I may move to the second question. Right. So it's about the VLOOKUP. So I would like someone to initiate, then we may discuss accordingly. So meanwhile, if you have any question, you can raise them. Will be yes. Thank you, Lakshita. Okay. So the first question is about, it asks us, so you are given a small database, and you're supposed to write the VLOOKUP function to find the product price for a given product ID. So when you give the product ID, you must come up with the relevant price, right? Okay, Lakshita, so shall we put that to the expanded form? Yeah, so we may do that. And so before we start that, when it comes to this VLOOKUP functions, we have extensively discussed that in the lecture. But if I'm just to summarize, when it comes to the basic function, what it serves, it would help you to extract the values from a database. So when you specify a particular criteria, so it may go and search that in the leftmost column If it is a VLOOKUP, you must search that in the very first, the leftmost column, and then it may return the answer. That is the basic function it would serve, right? When come to the VLOOKUP, එතකොට VLOOKUP වලින් වෙන basic කාර්ය මොකක්ද කියන එක මම කිව්වොත් එතනදි කරන්නේ අපි මේක data extraction tool එකක් විදිහට තමයි භාවිතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි යම්කිසි value එකක් input එකක් අපි specify කරනවා. හැබැයි එතනදි condition එකක් තියෙනවා මොකක්ද? ඒ input එක සෑම වෙලාවකම තියෙන්න ඕනේ අපි ගන්න table එකේ leftmost column එක. or leftmost column එකේ තියෙන දෙයක් තමයි අපි lookup කරන්නේ. ඒකට එතනදී ඒකට අදාළ answer එක generate කරනවා. So here Lakshita has done it very
also, sir, they need to know whether they are going with the exact matching or the some kind of closest matching.
Matching, yes.
Depending on the situation. Now, he has taken exact matching here. If he has taken closest matching, there will be errors definitely in this situation.
Yes. So shall we try that and see? Yes. Lakshita, can you come up with that value? I want to search for, say,
S123 X again, sir? No. He can confirm that, and then he can type the ID number X567.
Yeah, X567.
You can confirm it. Okay, then you enter the X567. Right. So now, can you go to that formula, price change formula, and then remove this false command? Sometimes it may give the error message.
It definitely, sir. It definitely,
So now you can see it is not giving the exact answer. No?
Yes.
It's because this particular column is not sorted according to the ascending order. If you have sorted that according to the ascending order, both method you will get the same answer.
Yes. So here the main point is that if you are going for an exact match, no problem. No problem. But if you are going for a closest match, you need to ensure that you have sorted the table accordingly. So that is the important learning outcome here. So you have seen that. So it had worked in the exact match situation, but when it comes to the closest match, it didn't work. So therefore, remember, if you are going for a closest match in a given instance, you have to ensure that your table is sorted. So you have to make sure that.
Now what is happening here, he is taking, because X need to be the last number. So he is taking the value of the last number, assuming that is the number. So if you sorted this, exactly the X need to come for the last in the list. Then only it will correct the answer.
Good. Let me go in.
Sort by the ID. Column A.
It will say good.
So then it gives the exact answer.
So you can see that particular thing. So there may be instances while you are working, you would witness that some instances we may need a closest match, and some instances it's an exact match. Yes, but it is quite safe that if you can format that table as a habit, then in both the instances it works.
But if they can decide whether it is exact matching required or whether it is closest matching required, now this particular situation, definitely the exact matching required, because we need to enter the product ID. If the ID is correct only, we need to get the price. If the ID is wrong, we don't have to get the unnecessary value. Now, for example, if it is not exact matching, if you enter the wrong number even, it will give the closest matching answer here. For example, now Putta, you can enter the different code, some which is not available in the product ID. Just type another code which is not available in the product ID. It still give the answers. That is the problem. So that's why the particular question need to be read very carefully, and you need to decide whether you need to go for the exact matching or closest matching. So this particular situation, this particular question is definitely you need to have exact matching, whereby your numbers are given, fixed numbers are given. If the numbers are not there, we are not going to get any price value. It will be not applicable answer. No? If it is exact false, false go to the VLOOKUP function answer and put the false at the end, and then type the different number which is not in the table. Okay, now you get because it is not applicable for that particular situation, right? No answer for that.
So this is one of the instances where not applicable error comes into the play, right? So we have discussed that in the very first classes. So about the errors, the not applicable. In that I haven't gone into much detail about this not applicable error, but this is a practical instance where that not applicable may come into picture, right? Good. So you have done that. Again, as Kalunsa had emphasized, it's about your judgment. So once you are given a particular situation, you have to decide whether it's a closest match instance or whether it's an exact match instance. So that is the most important learning outcome there, right?
We can also display the third one, yes, sir?
Yes, we may go. Yeah.
Also, because he has done it.
Yes, good. So you have gone for that. And yes, Lakshita, the second question, the expectation was that you are given different income levels. So in fact, that is how actually the income tax is calculated. So we have made use of this real information and we have given that to you to have some practical exposure. There you have very correctly started with that. So when you are given the table, I have given the range. The income range was given, and also
FX එක අයින් කරාම හරි වැඩි කරන amount එක first එක delete කරලා ඉවල ගන්නකො අන්න හරි. Now go back to the FX function. Right.
So we have given the income levels from 0, 500,000 likewise. And here Lakshita has done it very correctly. The very first thing what you need to do is that you need to take the lower threshold.
Yes.
You have to take the lower threshold. And so Lakshita, yeah. So let me take my answer for this. So I'm going to suggest a different approach. Lakshita, thank you very much, Lakshita. Let me take you through this. Yeah, you have done correctly. So let me first share my one, and let's come to a kind of I have seen that you have used a different method, and we'll see. So what is the reconciliation between the two methods, right? Okay. Thank you very much, Lakshita. You have done a good piece of work. Right. When it comes to a question of this nature, so you've been asked to develop a model, and this is what the question it was. You have given the different income levels and the applicable tax rate was given. So once you're given a question of this nature, the question as it is, you can't make any sense, and even you can't work with that. So probably you need to modify this table. You need to modify this table. And the very first thing what you need to decide is that it is about the question whether it's a closest match or an exact match. Here you can see that clearly it's a closest match instance because the range
That's
are
a range. Yes,
range are there. Yes. When there is a range, you need to know that you are always taking the lower threshold. In the first one, the threshold, if you see that, you can see from 0 to 500,000. I have taken the lower threshold. So likewise, throughout the question, you have to ensure you are extracting the lower threshold. So that is the very first thing. Then I have done a kind of small modification for this tax-free. You can't work like that, and you have to make it 0%. The tax-free in the sense it's 0%. So I have make it 0. From up to 500,000, if your annual income is 500,000 or below, you don't have to pay any tax, right? Thereafter, you have to pay for the increasing one 4%. So likewise, the band in which you fit, you may have to pay that. And thereafter, so I have made use of another important column. It is called the base taxes. So let me show how I have derived that, right? That is another important thing when you are working out a question of this nature. So here I have given you some little information. So I haven't mentioned even that you have to work that out. I have simply given you the opportunity to come up with a different way. But this is an easy way out, I'm suggesting, right? So here when it comes to a question of this nature, probably you may have to work out the base particular figure, the base tax here. Since we are discussing about the tax, it has to be the base tax, right? In that, what do you mean by this base tax? So you can see that different levels of income are there. In the first level, so it's up to 500,000. So if a particular person's income is below 500,000, let's say 400,000, probably that particular person has to pay 0. It's for sure 0. So in that particular instance, I have taken 0. Say that particular person income is 600,000. Let's assume the particular person's income is 600,000. In that, what must be the tax that particular person would have to pay? So how many income bands are relevant for that particular person. If your income is 600,000, you are passing the first band, no? From 0 to 500,000 level. After that, this 600,000 comes. So therefore, you are passing one level, and that is what we call the base tax. So depending on the number of income levels that you pass, you have to get the tax, and that's what we call the base tax, right? In the very first one, it is not applicable, it is simply 0, but from the second one onwards, it makes sense. If a particular person income is more than 500,000, say 600,000, up to 500,000, what is the base tax? Up to 500,000, the base tax is 0, because the question says that up to 500,000 tax free. So therefore, the base tax is 0. Then let's say that there is a person whose income, say 13 million. Just assume that particular person income is 13 million. If that particular person's income is 13 million, then how many bands that he is passing? First level he is passing for sure, from 0 to 500,000. That is a one level. Then the second level is also passing this 1.1 million level. He is passing 1.1 million level. But when it comes to the second level, you can see that there is applicable tax. The income which exceeds 500,000 up to 1.1 million, you have to pay 4% tax. So therefore, you are passing two levels, 0 to 500,000 and 500,001 to 1.1 million. If I'm to work out the base tax for this particular person who is earning 13 million per annum, so it would be like this, no? The first, so if I simply work out up to 500,000, the applicable rate is 0%. Applicable rate is 0%, right? Then the second band, it goes up to 1.1 million. So from 500,000 to 1.1 million, another 600,000 is there. For that particular 600,000, I must be getting 4%. I must be getting 4%. So then the summation of this is going to be the base tax of that particular person. So you can simply multiply that. So this is into this. You can simply drag it, and accordingly you can get the summation. In this instance, so it is 24,000. Then you can see that here, so when I'm getting this 24,000, I had to initially take this 0. So if you go and apply that in the table what you have constructed, what you have developed, you can see that this particular 0 is here. It is in fact the base tax that we have calculated for this particular income level. So when it comes to the income exceeding 500,000 up to 500,000, we have already computed. Then what is new? It is from 500,000 to 1.1 million. So therefore, here if I apply the same thinking, I can get it into like this. I can add the previous base tax plus the difference between these two levels. It is up to 1.1 million. It's up to 1.1 million. So it is 1.1 million and 1 and 500,000 and 1. Then at the end of the day, the 600,000 difference is coming because the 1 is there in both the instances. So I might take this and deduct it and apply the applicable rate. Then the same thing continues. So all what I have to do is just drag it. Just drag it. Just to confirm yourself, let's work out another level. Then I believe that it would be convinced. Let's say that your income level is like 20 million. Now assume that your income level is 20 million, right? If your income is 20 million, so how many levels that you are passing? Up to 500,000 you are passing. That's the first level. Then the second level is also passing. There you have 600,000 income. That's the second level you are passing. And even you are passing the third level as well. Since you are placing somewhere over here, you are passing the third level, 600,000. Applicable rates, 0%, 4%, and even 8%. So these are the rates. Now you can get the multiplication. The same thing happens. So if you take the summation, it has to be 72,000. I might have made a mistake. What is that? So in that, I would have applied a wrong rate. Is that?
Yeah, first again, Roshan, it need to be 24,000. No, mistake.
Yes.
48,000.
Yes. Yes.
Then we have to take 4%. No?
4%. Yeah.
We have calculated for 8%.
Yeah. Good. Sir. Thank you very much. Right here we have to get the 4%. So mistakenly taken that.
Then write it down.
Then yeah. Right. Now we are getting into the same answer, 24,048 and 72,000 likewise. Even if you work out manually, you may be getting to that. So therefore, in the first instance, you may have to manually do this and confirm yourself. So then once you are confident, you can simply go and apply that, and that particular knowledge is applicable for all the other instances. You may have to take the previous one and then the current year's one likewise, right? Then what is the expectation is you've been requested to develop a model. So therefore, when you are developing a model, so you need to have the maximum possible, and it has to be at the same time, the useful piece of information has to be there, right? So therefore, I have just developed the kind of model where I thought of for sure the given income has to be there. Then I have identified few more important information. So the one is the base income. So once I give the given income, I might come up with the base income. And the base tax would be of use. Base tax is definitely of use. Then I can take the additional income. I can work that out. And the additional tax, that when it comes to the total tax, it is simply the base tax plus additional tax. So that's how we have taken. Now let's take a particular income and let's try this out. So let's say that you are given 600,000. How to work out the base tax? By using your VLOOKUP function, you can simply go and look up this value and come up with the relevant tax, which you have already worked out. So that's all what you have to do. So we may go and apply the VLOOKUP. Take that to the expanded form. You can say what is the lookup value. So it is 600,000. This is what you want to search. Then the table array. And when you are selecting the table, you are not going to take the headings. And it's an important one. And the column in which you can find this base income we are searching for. So it has to be in this particular column, right? The first one. It was there in the first one, right? So there it comes as 501. So we are going for the closest match. So we are keeping that, nothing is there. Then it comes as 501. But what is the expectation? So if you go back to the basic question, the first question, you can see that it's up to 500,000. Then you need to make it 500,000, not 500,001. Then you can simply make that adjustment manually. Deduct from the entire thing 1. Now it turned out to be 500,000. Now relating to that, you can work out the base tax. Base tax can be worked out. Again, your VLOOKUP can be used. Let me copy and try to paste it and remove that and do the modification. Let's do that. The lookup value is still there. Table array is there. Base tax can be found in which column? We have worked that out. It was in the third column. So you mention what is the column. Say okay. So here you can see that the base tax has comes as 0. Yes, in fact, up to 500,000 it is 0. So if you change this, say that you want to make it like 13. Yeah. So it appropriately comes. So it means we have done it correctly. Then the additional income, it's just a matter of taking the given income and deducting the base income. So it's 200,000. Now the additional tax can be computed. So the additional tax. So it's going to be, you can take the additional income multiplied by, again, you can apply your VLOOKUP function. So now you need to just extract the rate. Again, you could have even taken this and modify the things. But I might take it in the very beginning. Lookup value was taken, then the table has to be selected as you used to do, and the column index number. So in which column you can find the applicable tax rate? The applicable tax rate for 13 million, it can be found in the second column, right? You may get that, and you are keeping that relative and say okay. So there it comes as 16,000. So that is exactly 2 million. That is into the applicable rate is 8%. If your income is ranging in this particular range, it is 13 million. So therefore it is exactly 8%. So you may apply that, and that's it. So the final thing, the base tax plus the additional tax. So you are getting into the total tax figure. Lakshita, so if you have taken it in a different way, we would like to witness that. So shall we go through that, sir, as well?
Yeah, but actually the Lakshita's one is not properly calculating the exact tax what we need to pay, no?
Yeah.
Because without the levels, your tax calculation is error, no?
Yeah.
Because basically now, according to the Lakshita module, it will calculate straight away the 12% to the whole amount.
Yes.
So the given amount, it is not going to deduct the base value, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Basically, layers make it now. It deduct the various levels, and then you pass the different levels and pay the additional tax for the given level. So in that case, once we calculated the way how Lakshita is calculated, it is now 1.3 million. That will calculate straight away 8% to the whole 1.3 million.
Yeah, the Lakshita would have probably missed one information, right?
So that now,
okay, we may skip
because
this.
our students are really calculating these taxes, this particular module is very, very important. I think this answer you need to upload into them.
Yes,
so
sure.
They can look at that how we calculated, because this tax calculation is very important.
Yeah.
Then it needs to be considered in a proper manner.
Sure. So I'll be uploading that, and you can make use of that, refer them further. Right. So shall we go through the final question?
ලක්ෂිත මේක වැඩේ වෙන්න එක ලේයර්ස් වලට යනකොට අපි යාට ගහන්නේ නෑනේ මුළු ටැක්ස් එකම දැන් 500,000 අනිවාර්යයෙන් මෙයාගේ නිදහස් වෙන්න ඉපේ. ඊට පස්සේනේ ලේයර්ස් වලට අපි බහින්නේ එක ලේයර්ස් වලට. ඒක හින්දා අපි නිකම්ම percentage එක apply කරොත් එයාගේ 500,000 වලට tax වෙනවා. percentage එක ලක්ෂ 5ට වැඩි වෙච්ච ගමන් 104ක් වදිනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ 5001ක් ලක්ෂ 5යි එකක් වැටිච්ච ගමන් මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට 104ක් වැටෙනවා මුළු ඔක්කොමටම full calculation. ඒක වැරදි. ඇත්තටම වැටෙන්න තිබුණේ එහෙනම් ලක්ෂ 5 free කළා රුපියලට විතරයි 104 වදින්න ඕනේ.
Yes.
ඒක තමයි නියම calculation එක. ඒක හින්දා මේ සර්ගේ මොඩල් එක දැම්මට පස්සේ පුතාලා පොඩ්ඩක් ඒක ස්ටඩි කරන්න. මේක ගොඩාක් වැදගත් වෙයි ඔයගලන්ට practically apply කරන්න මේ මොඩල් එක මේක හදලා තියාගත්තම you can calculate any person's income tax, because these are the current rates, no? There's a personal tax actual rate.
Yes, we have taken the
actual. Will be very useful for your future.
Yeah.
When you're calculating the personal tax of the particular person, you can input the given amount just like that into this particular module, and then you can end up with the calculation of how much the tax you need to pay.
Yeah.
Very simply. So that's why it's very, very vital module. Yes.
So if we start
upload sir.
Yes, sure. If we take the next question, sir, probably we would run out of time. It would take like 30 minutes time.
Yes.
Yeah. So for the day, let's stop at this point, and next class shall we consider that, sir?
Okay, නේ කමක් නෑ. අපිට මොකද ඒකේ VLOOKUP එකක් තියෙනවා. both
yes, even
are there. Yeah. Basically ඕන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ට නිකන් manually calculate කරලා බලන්න කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. Anyone who calculated that particular question, කාගෙරි තියෙනවනේ අපිට ටක් ගාලා පෙන්නන්න කියන්න පුළුවන්. Then we are not going to discuss. We will see whether they have calculated correctly, and next time we can discuss further.
Yeah, the Ravindu, you have done it.
Okay, Ranil. Okay.
Yes, good. Click on the additional one.
පුතාගේ එතන පොඩි මේකට යන්න පුතා basic tax basic salary එක calculate කරපු විදිය.
VLOOKUP.
එක හරි.
Right.
VLOOKUP එක. මෙතන තියෙන error එකක් නේද?
Yes,
Additional
yeah,
tax
it has
එකේ
to
error
be
එකක් තියෙනවා පුතා.
56,200
ඒක
or
උච්චර
something.
ගාණක් එන්න විදියක් නැහැ පුතා. Additional tax එක කියන්නේ අර ගාණ අඩු වුණාට පස්සේ නේ ගන්න.
Yeah, the question says that excess tax should be paid on the
you have to take the difference between the units. So 297 minus 200.
200. That is into the price and that is into the excess rate.
Amount need to be multiplied by the price and then apply the
Yeah.
tax rate.
Yes, sir. So we couldn't hear you.
ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් හිතන්නයි. අපි ඊළඟ පාර පෙන්නන මෙතන තියෙන 5% තමයි වැඩින්නේ. එතකොට මෙතන වැටෙන්න ඕනේ පුතා 97 unit 12000 වලින් වැඩි වෙලා 5% වදින්න ඕනේ යාර.
Yes.
ඒක mathematical calculation එක හැටියට ගත්තා. ඒකේ unit price එක 12000. එතකොට exceeded value එක වෙන්නේ 97 units විතරයි. මෙතන 200 තියෙනවා මෙතන 97. 97 multiply by 2. ඒක modify කරගන්න.
Yes. So except that the rest of the things you have done it perfectly. This total quantity is correct. Correct. And it's all the total sales summary is correct. The rest of the things you have done it correctly. Good job, Lakshita. So here we apply the whole knowledge.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Now what is the formula you have used here? Sum ifs, right? Sum ifs command.
So here
sum if
right.
formula sum if
yes, you have taken very correctly, and here the sum.
මේකට එන්නේ sum. ඒතකොට පුතා හරියටම මේක දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අර ඉගෙන ගත්ත concept ගොඩක් apply වෙනවා. මේක දැන් drag and copy කරන්න තිබුණා. මෙතන මේ constant කරා නම් column and sales constant කරන command එක දැන් drag and copy කරන්න බෑනේ. පුතාට පුළුවන් පළවෙනි answer එක ළඟට එන්න. මෙන්න මේක drag and copy කරන්න පුළුවන්ද බලන්න. වටේටම constant වෙන්න ඕනේ. සමහර row එක constant කරන තැනකුත් තියෙනවා, column එක constant කරන තැනකුත් තියෙනවා මෙතන.
So in fact we have
consider කරන්න.
Yeah. So that's what we have referred the mixed self preferences, if you can remember that. So you have to make use of that.
references ඔක්කොම use කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒතකොට දැන් එක තැනක පුතාගේ row එක constant කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඒතකොට row එක කියන්නේ row number එක. That means row number is ඉතින් dollar mark එක වැටෙන්න ඕනේ row number එකට. අනිත් පල්ලෙහාට copy කරන්න නම් column number එක constant වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒතකොට එක formula එකයි develop කරන්න පුතා. Only one single formula you have to develop for the whole sheet. Then you have to drag it and get the result.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to hit on them. But නැත්නම් කාලේ නාස්ති වෙනවා එකින් එකට ඒක type කර ඉන්න ගියාම. So that's why you have to make sure when you calculate the first calculation immediately අවශ්‍ය කරන තැන් constant කර ගන්න ඕනේ. Right. Answer එක හරි. මේක අනිත් එකත් හරි.
Yes, good job. Make that certain improvements.
No problem.
Yes.
So next time we will next time.
Yeah.
Next time we will show you the answer, proper answer for that.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to make use of the VLOOKUPs. Otherwise, the things is going to be much difficult. So therefore, once you learn this today's lecture, then you'll be exposed to the rest of the things, and you can work out the class activities together with this activity. In the next class, we'll be taking that.
Any assignment today, sir?
No, sir. This week we don't have. So after the next class discussion, we are going to have our
next week is the last, I think. They are going for the exams. That's why you have to stop the lecturing during that period. I most probably, right? Next lecture will be the last lecture before we are giving them a 2 weeks break, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes.
Exam week they are cannot make
Oh, sir. Oh,
we have to stop them doing the lectures, no, because they need to go by the. So we will on only the lectures for the next week.
Yeah.
That is with the lookup function. We will stop for 2 weeks, right?
Next week, are we uploading that? We have to sensitivity.
We will on that now, and we will have a discussion also next Tuesday. Then we will stop. We will stop for them to go for the exams.
Yes, sir. Sure.
In 2 weeks break, we will come back with the last final sessions, few sessions of the final. No?
Right. Okay. We
So
may do accordingly.
this material we will on now.
Yeah.
That means all the materials except the test taker not going to be on me.
No, 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 sir. Test. Here, I believe that no test. The class activities we can on, yes, sir?
Yeah, all the class activities we will on it.
Yeah. Right.
This one and ABC also on it, right?
Yes, yes. No,
ABC
no, no
one,
test.
class activity, handout, and all the lecture materials.
Yeah, everything can be on for this week. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Right. Then, thank you very
And
much.
the
Thank you very
PowerPoint
much,
one
sir.
also, no?
Yeah. Yes.
PowerPoint explain.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, sirs. Thank you very much. Then, for the day, we may stop our discussion. So then, let's meet in the next class.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Thanks.